The information provided on lifeinterruptedradio.com is for educational purposes only.
And right now I've got the awesome Roberta Mittman. I call her our in-house wellness coach, because we're going to talk about how do we change these limiting behaviors. Roberta is a dedicated alternative healthcare practitioner, wellness coach, speaker, author, licensed acupuncturist, and certified nutritional consultant. And she offers guidance to people around the world to look and feel unstoppable. I love that. And she's got this magic way about her. It's just this perfect holistic blend of understanding Western principles, just in cutting edge Western information, as well as timeless Eastern principles. And Chinese medicine is part of those Eastern principles, and acupuncture. So I just love that about her. And she's been on the show several times, and I asked her back because I want these easy to execute tips, because oftentimes I can get something from a doctor and it sounds easy, but then I start to feel better and I slip off the wagon, so to speak. So welcome, Roberta. Thanks for being here. She's the one who keeps me on the wagon, guys.
Oh, you're so welcome, Sharon. Thank you for inviting me. I love our conversations.
Oh, gosh. Tell us about this idea of how often that you, as a practitioner yourself, or you, as the patients you speak to, you find that even with the best of intentions, once you start to feel a little bit better, it's easy to fall off to the track that made you feel better.
Hey, listen, we're all just human, and after a while, it just gets boring. It gets hard. It gets like, is this really working? You get distracted and you lose your momentum. And I mean, you could use that about anything, about like autoimmune. You could use that about like an eating plan. You hear that all the time, and it's hard to get back. And sometimes you can't always just get back exactly the same. You have to make a teeny little change just to make it like, oh, okay, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just really sometimes hard to go back. So, a lot of times it's really the way you're thinking about it, not you, but one is thinking about it, because the plan hasn't changed. We've changed.
Yes. Well, sometimes the pain is a lot less. And so I'm thinking I'll fall off the wagon because, just today I can cheat.
Right.
Today's a birthday. Just today I can cheat and have sugar and cake and what have you. And then for me, at least with the diet, it doesn't take long for me to feel that, no, I guess I can't cheat. But
it's just this once.
Who turns into being, well, that wasn't so bad. Maybe one more time, or I got away with it last time. I'll do it this time. So what are some things you help people like myself who, with the best of intentions, and we get great plans from practitioners like yourself, wellness coaches like yourself, what are some ways that you help get us back on course?
Well, Sharon, I have developed a 3-stage plan to address this specifically because it is such a common thing. And I have compassion. No, trust me. It's me and everybody else out there. You have a lot of company. And that's why I developed this plan, because it just helps to crystallize a way to not only get back, but maybe to view it a little bit differently. And it's called my 3 R's. The 3 R's are recognize, reframe, and reclaim. It's simple. It doesn't need to be difficult to do. Sometimes it sounds easier than it is, but it really gives somebody an opportunity to quickly go through and assess where they are, what they need to do, and to keep your eye on the goal. Because that's sometimes the important thing. Not the moment with the chocolate cake, but what is the real goal? And is this going to get you closer to it or further away? Is it going to make your pain worse, or is it going to make your pain better? Right? So those 3 steps I find are really very helpful for people. And I'm happy to go through them with you if you'd like to.
Absolutely. Now, just in a quick clarity here, it sounds like I could do that in the moment when I'm being handed the birthday cake, that I could recognize, reframe, and reclaim in the moment, this as well as doing it maybe after I've slipped off the wagon.
You can do it anytime. Once you start to just kind of incorporate it a few times, it gets to be really easy and automatic. And you just kind of slip into those three things. 1, 2, 3, like that. 1, 2, 3. It doesn't take a lot of time and effort. But if afterwards, and if you have time to really think about it, it's very helpful because it can really be a catalyst for a lot of, different ways of looking at it. Like maybe I'll go through it and I'll tell you, but you'll see what I mean. Maybe I should try this one thing that I've been putting off. Or, I deserve to live like this. Or I could change my self-talk. So why don't we start from the first one? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Let's start with the one that's really common, is being tempted by sugar.
Sure, that we could do. And so
I think that's really common.
Yes, that is so common. And, when you're faced with that, we could, the first step then would be to recognize. What is recognize? That's your self-talk. So it's really mindfulness. Like, what are you thinking in this moment? And I think stopping.
I'm thinking that cake looks really good.
Okay, perfect. You're thinking it looks really good. And then you're going to reframe it and say, well, we'll talk about it. It looks really good. So you're also probably thinking, it looks really good, but maybe I shouldn't have it. Or maybe let's cheat. Or just this once. Or, or like, I deserve it. I'm going to have it and I deserve it.
You keep saying or, and I think I would say all of those things.
Exactly.
I would go through this whole thing. Oh, it looks really good. Oh, I shouldn't cheat. Oh, but just this once. I think I would go through that entire part of recognizing very quickly in my mind all this rationalization.
That's kind of what it is. It's really pay attention to your self-talk. And it just takes a second to do that. Do you know what I mean? And it's really important because you can't make a change in anything or get back on track until you know where you are. Do you know what I mean? So what's like a lot of times you're going to go to a place and you're going to see that cake and you're going to say, it looks really good, but it's not on my plan. Or, I can always have cake another time. I'm going to pass on this one. Or who knows what, right? But, and I should say, there's sometimes when it's going to look so tempting and you're just going to be like, melting inside and say, I got to have it. So what's the difference between those two times? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on in that moment? And I know it's really hard to assess that, but just say, if you could think of recognize, I really want it. Why? Just think about that for a second. I really want it. Why? Because I'm hungry, because it looks good, because what? So just
what comes up for me? Interesting. Is emotions come up for me.
Emotions.
Every time I've asked myself the question, it's not been about, when I say I really want that, it's not like I'm hungry for it. I could go have the apple on the other buffet table, It's about emotions of it, I think. Maybe sometimes I'm reflecting back to a birthday party where everyone else was having birthday cake. And, the little child comes up and hands you the birthday cake as well. Is there, sometimes at big events, little kids pass out the plates of cake. It's just so easy at that moment to indulge.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it. And sometimes if you could just quickly press that pause button and say, okay, I'm just going to think about this for a minute. Is this like, why do I really want this? You know what I mean? And sometimes that will help. Or what's going on? What am I thinking? Like what are the emotions? Everyone's having it. I want it too. It's kind of like all of those things are, totally justifiable. But sometimes it helps to know, like if you're trying to avoid sugar and it's right there and you're able to just press the pause button, it takes practice. It really does. Because sometimes you're just like, you're just doing, I see it, I want it, I'm having it. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's no room for anything. But if you can just expand that moment for a minute and make a decision about it, I think that's a better idea. And just say, what am I thinking? What's the emotion around it? It's important. And then we go to the next one, reframe phase. And the reframe page helps you to reframe some of those triggers. And it can be really fast. It could be like, instead of thinking, everyone's having it and I want it, or just this once, you could be thinking something like, yes, I could have it just this once, but then I know that I'm opening up Pandora's box. I'm having it again and again. I'm opening the floodgates. Or you could say something like, everyone else is having it, but I'm really going to be okay. I don't really have to have it. I'll have something else. I mean, you could be logical about it. Or you could say, I really, really, really want it. And I'm just going to I don't want to screw up all the success I've had before up till now. I'm just doing so well.
That's where I go quite often.
Yeah.
The two reframes I do quite often is, okay, I have been on this healing path for so long and it's working so well. And, and I don't want to feel the pain tomorrow. So that's my reframe.
There you go. No guilt, no remorse. The next day, you can respect yourself in the morning, right?
Exactly, because I didn't have the cake at the birthday party. Yeah. So
yeah.
let's describe more about reframing, because I think people get confused of what that is. Let's talk.
Okay.
Let's choose a different. I know we talked about this is cake and sugar, but what are some other ways people can reframe the situation into a different outcome?
Yeah. Okay. I love talking about the reframe, because to me, when it talks about mindset, it's really wonderful. It's just a great conversation. So some of the other ways that I like to use, and I'd love to hear your suggestions when you work with people about reframing this. Sometimes I'll say to people well, who is the person you want to be in this situation? And we'll talk about it. Yeah. What are you going to look like? What are you going to sound like? What actions are you going to take? Who is this person? And, once we kind of change the script a little bit, somebody can step into it a little bit easier. So actually, when somebody's going to a party, this whole process would start even before they left, because there's certain things they know they need to do before they go, such as never go hungry. You're going to see sweet things and wonderful things. What is that person going to do moving forward? Stepping into that self who wants to be, who has this goal that you have. What does he or she do? What do you sound like? What is the actions like? Just visualizing, I think, is important.
I think that's a really great tip, because oftentimes those people we know well are the ones where we're going into their homes or their parties. We know them well enough to run through the script in our mind beforehand, because we'll know that, so-and-so over there, she's always going to bring her world famous baked beans and want me to try them, or something along those lines,
Right. Or she's a food pusher. I always know when I'm going to someplace and they're going to put pressure on me. So I visualize, who am I going to be there? What am I going to say? What am I going to sound like? What am I going to wear? How am I going to, the whole thing. And I make sure that I eat something before I go, so I'm not ravenous and everything doesn't look like I have to have it.
I always stick a little something in my purse and take it with me too, in case I get delayed and then start to get ravenous. Excuse myself.
Exactly. Perfect.
Eat what I need to eat. Well, we're down to just the last few minutes. We're going to have you back on like we always do, but let's talk about this final process of reclaim, correct?
Sure. Yes. Yes, the reclaim. Well, actually, the reframe is the biggest one, and the reframe takes up really most of the process. And the reclaim is simply to have your plan and work it. Is to move forward and reclaim your best health. Take action. It's nice to think about them and talk about these things, but what are you going to do? Are you going to journal a little bit about your feelings about your eating? About how you felt about having that cake, if you had it, if you didn't have it. What is that going to mean for you and the rest of your plan? How are you going to move forward? It's really taking action, trying something new, acupuncture, taking a cooking class about healthy eating. There's so many different things that you could do, and moving forward.
Absolutely. That's what I love. And one thing that you shared with us a while ago, part of this was always to be sure and celebrate your success. If you left that party following your plan and to, give yourself a high five or celebrate with it, celebrate the
Totally.
win.
Totally, because the reframe is also getting rid of the negative self-talk and changing it to more positive, like I'm really doing my best and I'm going to move forward. And the reclaim is really actually moving forward. It's like taking all of those tools that we've collected, because it's a little bit of a longer process, when you think about it, and moving forward, actually taking action, and celebrating is a big part of it too.
Yeah, I always like to, if I've gone through this part where I've scripted out where I'm going, what I'm going to do, and how it's going to play out, as far as avoiding what I need to avoid and doing the right things for my health in that moment, is when I'm through that process. Because at home it's easy, I'm surrounded by my environment with my own foods and things. I always sort of give myself a high five or self-congratulations, like, okay, girl, you did it. You got through. Congratulations. So be sure and always celebrate those small wins.
Absolutely.
We're just down to the last few minutes, Roberta.
Okay.
What final thoughts do you have? And then be sure to tell everyone how to get a hold of you, and mention your book too.
Oh, thank you. I actually have it here because it's all about the 3 R's that we talked about. It's ultimate wellness, the 3 mental shifts you can use to change the course of your health right now. And it's all about the 3 R's. So it's really apropos, and it goes into all of those 3 phases, different aspects of health. My final words are, figure out, really look at where you are. That's like, you can't make a map unless you know where you are. Make a plan about where you want to go. What do you want to see in your journey, and how do you want it to feel? And the third part would be, make a roadmap, because you can't go unless you have a map. And you can go everywhere, but if you really want to be focused, that's it. So that's a 3-phase thing and plan. And I think it can really help in so many different situations.
Oh, absolutely. And it can be a roadmap for health. People are like, well, yes, a roadmap. I want to go from this low city to that city. But you can actually even have a roadmap for your health, plotting out the different things you're going to be doing and when you're going to be doing them. So it's a different use of a roadmap, but I found it really one of Roberta's great wellness tips. Thank you so much, Roberta. It's robertamittman.com. And I'll have that spelling out up there on the website, understandingautoimmune.com. And be sure and join us next week for another episode of the Autoimmune Hour. A new episode comes every Friday night, 7 p.m. But as you guys know, they're always available in audio podcast and now also on our YouTube channel as well. So you can see Roberta's face and Adam's face in video, as well as all our other guests. So everyone, have a great weekend, whatever your adventures. Join me next Friday. Enjoy.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.